Hello. This is Anna Imagination with the Healing Garden. Welcome to Shifting Perspectives. This is the Anna's Lounge edition. And if you are not familiar, I am a philosopher, a psychologist, and a sociologist of 30 years. I know shit. I'm also, apparently, an anarchist, a feminist, and an activist who's also a pacifist. That's important. So I'm looking at my life going, I am a walking contradiction. I embrace dichotomy. I really do. I embrace dichotomy. And I'm finally at that point where I'm going, you know what? Whoever said psychologists have to be stuffy and professional. And I don't know who came up with that rule, but I've decided I don't like it. And I don't know who came up with the rule that feminists have to hate men. And I don't know who came up with the rule. Who are these rule people anyway? And I don't know who came up with the rule that an activist has to be violent. I don't know who these people are, but I have decided they are not my favorite people because I feel like I am held up to the expectations of their labels. And that's a lot of fucking pressure. You know what I mean? Like maybe I don't want your label and the label comes along and it slaps you onto it. And with that label comes expectations and pressure. And suddenly I can't live up to their expectations. Let me rephrase that. I can't live down to their expectations. And the reason why I can't live down to their expectations is because that requires I break every little part of my identity to fit into their I want to use a different word. Not expectation box, something colorful, something like expectative box or something to that effect. But you know what I mean. Their box of expectations. I don't want this. So when I realized I had this really awesome brain with all of these really awesome credentials, I had this moment in my brain where I just went, well, now what do I do? Because wearing a suit and a bra every day with heels, like what the fuck am I supposed to do with that shit? Aha, I'm a rogue. That's what I am. I like this. I'm liking this. So, and that's the other thing, is when you combine all of your careers into one thing, because that's really what I'm doing. This is great. So then I took theater for 20 years, where all I did was like theater, playwright, stage, Shakespeare, theater, play, stage, stage. Like I went nuts over the theater. And oh my God, I wanted to be Shakespearean. Like that was my dream for a long time, was to be like this Shakespearean. Oh my God. And then I went through a stage where when I was writing books, people were like, oh my God, I love your voice. Have you ever considered doing ASMR? And then they were like, have you ever considered doing book narratives? So I did a few book narratives where I narrated the book. And I loved it. I loved it. It was theater all over again. You know, I love teaching, but I don't love teaching in a classroom. That was something else that crossed my mind. Do I teach? But the idea of being left, have you ever noticed in colleges and in universities, there's a platform, like a stage, where the professor struts across the stage? And the reason why is because it's theater. Teaching is theater. You have an audience with multiple middle minds. Only teachers get to break the fourth wall. It's not fair. Actually, you know, when you look into teaching, they say you have to tap into your inner actress, the inner actor, the inner player. But what if you're a player who wants to tap into your inner actress? This is my weed and wine, Anna's Lounge. I had a really bad day today and yesterday. I wouldn't know it was a bad day. And this is supposed to be authentic and real because I lead by example. And I'm supposed to be vulnerable with you. My forever gift, my vulnerability. And sometimes I wonder, is it a gift that you give your vulnerability? Or is it just a trauma response because you don't know what to do with privacy because you've never had it, Anna? Which is it? Think. You know what bothers me more than anything? Is when people approach me and they're like, well, you're a psychologist. Why aren't you perfect? What makes you think psychologists are perfect, I say. And they say things like, well, you know psychology. Yes. Excuse me. Psychologists know psychology. So that when we misbehave, we know why. We know what's going on. We know precisely what's going to happen. We know. The problem is some psychologists cannot see from a different point of view. We are all stuck within our bubble view, where we're all within first person point of view. And in order to see a situation properly, you need to step into third person point of view and omniscient point of view. Omniscient point of view is where the magic happens, but you don't access omniscient point of view until and unless wow, I just had an idea. I've never flirted with an audience before. Never done that before. Interesting. Oh, the possibilities. Oh, I have to tell you this idea because I'll tell you, I don't know what this, wow, I'm going, wow. So the player in me is going, oh, I get to flirt with the audience. And the writer in me is going, oh, I get to flirt with the audience. I get to flirt with the reader. And, well, I'm just going to do it. The God in me is going, oh, I get to flirt with my creation. Interesting. So I've got this massive perspective shift that I just experienced. And I'm going, how do I articulate it? This is the point where I was trying to get to 10 months ago. I thought, you know what? I know what's inside of me. How do I get it out? How do I reach down inside of me and get this thing out of me? How do I learn how to be vulnerable with people and completely drop my guard? Yes, I am smoking a bowl. And yes, I am drinking some wine. So yes, my vulnerability is down because today I wanted to shut it all down and withdraw. And I thought things today like, Anna, you cannot delete this. I was at the doctor's office today with my daughter. She had shots. And I was crying because I have a really big burden to carry. And I am alone when I carry it. And no one understands what kind of a burden this is. And I have a choice. I can carry this thing alone. Christ did that. He tried to do it alone. He brought 12 people into him. And then he only told them part truths to protect them. And it didn't work. It scared people. It scared Rome because they knew what he had. So they killed him because he was talking too much. Only I know what Christ had. And he knew that they could not kill him. But only Judas knew. Judas knew the truth. So he never rose from the dead. It was staged. Because I know what he knew. Because I found it. And he, like me, was terrified of this information getting into the wrong hands. So he tried to hide a portion of the truth, like I did. This was the hard part. You can't just walk around saying, hey guys, we're gods, and we're immortal, and I know how, and I can prove it. Look what I can do. Because that scares people. So you say nothing, and you tell them only a little bit. But even that little bit starts to scare people. And when a lot of my work, it was really funny because it was philosophy and psychology and philosophy and psychology. And I went, oh, that reminds me of Christ. Philosophy and psychology and that reminds me of Christ. Philosophy and psychology and what's the Bible doing here? Like, what the fuck is the Bible doing here? And then I looked at it, and it was different. God didn't mean God at all. It meant love. And Jesus didn't mean Jesus at all. This is the best part. Oh, this is my favorite part. Jesus meant I. Jesus' name is I. It was a metaphor for all of us. And God was a metaphor for love, identity, imagination. Imagination said, let there be light, and there was light. This is my favorite. All right, right here, ready. And God made man in his own image. Well, let's change this around just a little bit. And I made man in my own imagination. That was my favorite part. That's what image means, imagination. We were created out of a God's imagination. But God isn't a man. This is the part that's really going to piss off everybody. Most everybody. God is trigender. He is, she is, they are, all in one. There are three parts of the identity. In common language, it's called masculine, feminine, and trans. The real words are nurturer, provider, and luminal. A luminal means threshold. It was the original word for transgenders. Before that word and that concept was completely wiped from history books. Because that was the one thing we should not have remembered, somebody thought. So they hid it. I'm in the middle of a vision right now, and I can see things. Only now I can articulate them logically and calmly to you. Hopefully so as to not scare you. It has taken me a very long time to try and get to this point. I have been trying to talk to you. Triadic healing doesn't just heal us, it awakens us. And we will understand, and we will remember. Triadic healing is the God code. When I found it, I used it on myself. And then I kept using it on myself. You can see it in action on my podcast. You can go back to 2014 and look at me. Look at me from 2014. And now look at me in 2023. You will see someone entirely different. Someone completely different. I have not yet gone back and looked. I'm scared to. Because I recorded my entire healing journey. All of it. And it's done. This concludes my research. This is it. This is my thesis. It's all documented. It's all mine. It's all here. From 2015, with my book, Broken. Award-nominated author, where I begin to spell out my journey and my research and my work. And then I blogged. My therapist said to me, Anna, keep a journal. And I went, okay. And I blogged. The thing is, this is my diary. This is my diary. I just published my diary. So, unlike Anne Frank, mine is consensual. To be honest with you, it's actually a big pet peeve of mine that somebody decided that they should publish a 16-year-old's diary without her consent. But hey, what do I know about consent, right? So this is my diary with consent. I wrote it for me. When I was done, I was going to throw it away, burn it. And it turned out to be too good. A lot better than it should have been. It was. So I sent it to a couple girlfriends at the time, and I said, could you read this? Let me know what you think of it. Because I was just going to throw it away. And the response I got from those women was, this needs to be in the world. This needs to be in the world. And I said, okay. And I watched it change them. I watched those women change before my eyes. I got lots of letters from fans, lots of comments about it. And they wanted to know if I was okay. That was the sweetest part. Most of them just wrote to me to see if I was okay. Yeah, I'm okay. Yes, I can tell you, I'm okay. And that inspired me to continue to journal. And I had people cheering me on. Not my family. Strangers from around the world who messaged me. People I met on dating apps who looked at my book, read it, called me and said, I commend you. And it was their voices that kept me going. So I kept blogging and podcasting. And in 2020, my husband threw me out. And I thought, I could see the psychological entrapment inside of my own head. I could see my own Stockholm syndrome. I could step back from it, look at it like a ball of energy just isolated from the rest of me. And I could wrap my hand around it, pluck it, and go, oh, so that's codependency. Well, that's interesting. I did it with all of them. Except depression. Depression is special. Took me a long time to figure this one out. Oh my God, is depression. Depression is special. Te quiero mucho. Te quiero mucho, Juanito. Siempre. The problem that I had is when I got out, I looked back and I saw all of you and I thought, I can't leave them behind. I can't leave them behind. Now, psychologists love to call that white knight syndrome, and they're wrong. Because I have a clean bill of health. I'm quite logical, quite sane, quite intelligent. And that love and passion to help people isn't a mental disorder. That is love. That's right, people. Traditional psychologists diagnosed real love as a mental disorder. Good one. Good job, guys. White knight syndrome is what real love actually feels like. So if you ever have that enduring need to help someone, it's because that's the kind of person you are. Because you're a God, and God is love. And the identity is made up of pure love. That's what my research in psychology led me. That was the first Godstone. That's the logic. Oh, you want to know what's been going on with my brain for the last 10 months? I was looking at logical deduction, and my gorgeous logical brain, I am a logician first and foremost, saw it and went, come on, Anna, what's the logical deduction? And I went, no, not that, not that. What's the logical deduction? Stop denying me. And I had the worst case of cognitive dissonance. I am so sorry, my imp. I know I put you through hell. But yeah, that's cognitive dissonance at its worst. It's that moment you realize, oh my God, I'm a God. I am God. Oh, I can't be God. Logic says, but I can't be. But logic says. So that's a fun trip. So I went through that for a year until I got to this point. The ultimate truth. The ultimate truth is that we're gods and we forgot. That's it. We forgot that we were gods. But it gets better. Not only did we forget that we were the gods, we then created a story about ourselves. That's my that's right. And forgot it was about us. That I love. That I love. That's like a could it get more ironic? And I thought things like, why would it be ironic? Why? Who decides that it's ironic? Because I happen to really love irony. Oh my God, do I love irony? I love irony more than anything else. It's almost as if somebody had created this entire thing out of my imagination, because I would turn this into a massive game. And if I were a god and if I could manifest, I would create the weirdest fucking shit I could possibly think of. Drop a logician right in the middle of it. Have the logician in this world of chaos endure the lack of logic. This would be my idea of hell. And then, because they're story gods, I would have it so that everyone is a story god who has free will. Because then it'd be really interesting to see what would happen, wouldn't it? That is exactly the kind of stuff I would do. So then I send these people out into the world to live their lives of free will. And you know what I have? I have an eternity of television without the need for writers, because it's automated. Automated television. That's what I got. Because if I were a god, that's the shit I would make. And suddenly I looked at the world and I went, it was like that moment in the Truman Show when he goes, and he goes, and he goes, either I am the center of the universe or I am God. So which is it? Which is why every one of us thinks we are the center of the universe, because we are. Oh, when I start showing you how this all logically weaves together, and I can finally tell you, I have not been able to say it until now. I really hope I'm still in the 11th perspective, because I'm not ready for 12th yet. I just got here. Now, I can see it all. And I can see how, if I were the God of the universe, and if I was the one God, and I was God of story and manifestation, and if I created a story like that, and if I had an eternity, I would pick up me and drop me right in the middle and make myself the main character, because that is exactly what I would want from my story, because this is my story. And I would want to present as literally the smartest person on the planet. And I'm pretty sure I am. Because if anyone were smarter, they would be ahead of me. This already would have taken place, and we already would have seen it. But I'm the first. Because I'm the smartest. Because I'm the one. I know who I am. I know exactly who I am. There is understanding, and then there is remembering. after remembering, you know. And once you know, you name it. And after you name it, you claim it. My intention is to teach this to all of you because it's time to wake up now. It's time to be seen. You're lonely and you're cold. You're lost and you're broken. You've been silent for too long. We all have forgotten who we used to be, who we are. Outside, we are laughing. Inside, we are screaming. Outside, we are laughing. Inside, we are dying. These aren't just words. This is not a song. It's a message I've been giving to all of you. It's a message I've been trying to send to you. We're lonely, we're lost, we're cold and we're broken. We've been silent for too long. We all have forgotten who we used to be, who we are. These aren't just words. This is not a song. It's a message I'm giving to all of you. It's a message I've been trying to send to you. I know how to cure mental illness. I know exactly how to get us to world peace. I know how to fix this. What are you waiting for? Click the link below. I call it Authenticity City, the age of authenticity. May the kindest of words always find you.